just so that you're aware that the recording is happening. So that we had a lot of folks that had some interest in the session, but couldn't make it today. So we are going to post the recording on the faculty development webinar playlist on YouTube starting next week, as well as all the other sessions that we've hosted for Open Education Week. So my name is Kim Wilmink, and I'm the e-learning coordinator and professor in the School of Tourism, Hospitality, and Culinary Arts. And I'm also a faculty development consultant with Organizational Development and Learning. And I'm joined today by two of my amazing and talented colleagues, Shauna Roche, who's the e-learning coordinator and professor in the Lawrence Kinlan School of Business, and Greg Denemy, who is an educational technologist in learning systems services. Now for this workshop, we'll be using an FOL course site, which you've all been enrolled in. And think of this as your H5P playground or sandbox. And we thought we'd start off with a quick poll just to get an idea of where folks are at with their H5P knowledge. So I'm going to just start that poll now. And so on your Zoom screen, you should see a poll pop up. And we're just curious here, how familiar are you with H5P? Or have you used it before? So yes, just a little. Yes, I feel pretty comfortable. Yes, I love H5P and I use it all the time. No, I know what it is and I want to use it. Or no, what the heck is H5P anyway? All right. Excellent. Thank you all for participating in the poll. I'll publish the results there. So this is a great cross section of folks that are here. And we're hoping that what we can provide you today is some really basic entry level information about H5P and not only how you can use it in your courses, but also actually how to design it and use it to enhance your students' experience. So I'll stop sharing that for now. And we'll move to the next slide. So what is H5P? It's a free and open source content collaboration framework based on JavaScript. And H5P is an abbreviation for HTML5 package. And it aims to make it easy for everyone to create, share, reuse interactive content such as interactive videos, presentations, games, quizzes, and more. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I hear the words like JavaScript and HTML, I have this automatic fight or flight response. And I get this vision of a page after page of web coding, and that totally overwhelms me. So I'm super happy to share that H5P is not that at all. I mean, it is, but you don't need to worry about that part of it. It's super easy to use. It's a great tool, and it can bring your static or your text-based content to life. There are many ways that you can use H5P. One of my favorite applications is to use it for some really quick formative assessments or knowledge checks, and that it can be built right inside your FOL course. So with that said, I'm now going to pass things over to Greg, who is going to walk us through the process of using and creating an H5P activity. So over to you, Greg.
Thanks, Kim. So in a moment, I'll be showing you how we can access H5P, and we'll be looking at just a quick example to get you started. So with H5P, you can access it through the HTML editor in the content area. You do also have the ability to access it in other areas of your course, such as an announcement area. So I have seen faculty liking to insert their H5P modules right in their course homepage in the announcement just to grab that student's attention or grab student attention. But the main area that faculty do seem to use it is in the content, because H5P is usually more of a content item. So you can see here just in this little screenshot, so we have a little snippet of the HTML page that you see, and we have that little, which is highlighted, the little box with the triangle in it, or looks like a little play button. And when you click on that, you have access to a list, and H5P is one of it. Again, we will be looking at that really quickly in a moment, how to access that, so not to worry there. We also have a link to the FWell help. We do have H5P help documentation. With this presentation, you probably received an email from Kim yesterday mentioning that you were enrolled in a H5P workshop course. So in that course, you do have access to this course presentation, and also the resources that we'll be going into shortly. So that's just with this slide. I'm just going to start sharing my screen here in a moment, and I'll show you how we can really access H5P and start off with an example. So again, so in this, I am just in the H5P workshop course here, and you can see we do have access to the slideshow here. At the bottom, we have an example, just multiple selection question here that Shauna actually brought in for us. And so you can see where you have these different options that the students can click on. We'll just click on one of these options here, click on check. You can see we got 1 of 3 correct, so there was more options here. We have the ability to show the correct solution if we wanted to. We do have the ability to customize the H5P modules, which are really nice. So if we wanted to, we could hide that show solutions, so that students would have to keep on retrying and then trying to figure out which the correct answers are until they got it perfect. So that's the example we're going to work with. So you'll notice in this course, we have a link that says, what is H5P interactive download link? So in a moment, we'll give you time to download this and try it yourself. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click on the link to download it. And what it's downloading the file is just a .h5p file. And then I'm going to go into the content of this workshop. And you'll notice under these, we have some different modules here. We have a module for participant pages. And when I click on that, we have a list of all of your names. So everyone should have a page designated for them. And this is just going to be a working area for you for this workshop. I'm just going to click on the load more button. So if you don't see your name, keep on scrolling and click the load more button. And then I'm just going to click on mine here, the Greg Denemy. And I'm going to edit the page. So when you start off, it is just a blank page. We just created a blank content item for you. And then you can see we have our toolbar here. So I'll click on the Insert Stuff button. And this brings up our list of tools. And when I scroll down to the bottom, we have access to H5P. And once that loads here, we have our H5P, and now we're able to start working on our content. So if we were to create something from scratch, we do have the ability to create new content by clicking the Add Content button. And that's actually what we'll do here. We'll click the Add Content. We can either look at the list of tools if we were creating something from scratch. But again, for this example, we wanted to give you something just to start off with, to work with. So we'll click on the Upload button. And then we can choose our file. So that file that I just downloaded off of FOL, I'll click on Upload File. I'll select the H5P module, and I'll click on Use. And then we can see here it was successfully uploaded, and I can scroll through and I'm able to see how that page was created. So you can see, like Kim mentioned, there's no programming experience. H5P handles all the coding and all the JavaScript and all that other fun stuff. So all you have to do is really go through and fill in the fields. To select what the correct answers are, we can just select the option for correct. We can go through, modify this to however we'd like. And then once we're all finished, we can click the Save button. And then we can see a preview of a module. And if we're ready to insert it, we can click on the green insert button. It's going to give us a quick preview again, just to make sure that it's the right module that we want. And then we can click the insert button. And now that module is embedded directly into our content. So now as students were going to view our content, they are able to interact with it. One of the questions I do sometimes receive with this is when the faculty try going into the view student mode, they notice that it looks exactly the same. Really, how you see it as a professor is the exact way the students will see it. The only difference is they don't have access to the edit button. And once there's a couple of attempts on it, there's a little reports button that appears. Again, those two buttons only appear for the faculty member. Other than that, it's exactly the same for the students. So we'll click the Save and Close button, and that's our just example that we'll be working with in this session. So I'll pass it over to Shauna to continue on.
I just want to take a minute here, Greg. First thing is that we have a couple participants who aren't able to access the FOL course because they registered this morning. Is there a way that we could quickly register them, or how does that work? You're on mute, Greg.
I can, yes, sorry, I can put them in.
That's
I was just scrolling through the chat. Yeah, I can put them in real quick as you're talking if you'd like.
Okay, perfect. I will send you the names.
Perfect.
And then Latvia says, I am not able to log in. So Latvia, did you register this morning as well?
Yes, that's why I said I thought that covered me.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to just give me one second.
No, take your time. That's totally understandable. I figured.
Okay, so I've sent the list of the two names there, Greg, if you want to get those folks added. Now,
Perfect.
I'm going to go through quickly. Did everybody find their page okay? If anybody didn't, feel free to let me know, or you can give me a thumbs up reaction. Everybody's okay? All right, awesome. Okay, so you've got your page and you were able to add, I know Greg's a pro at this, right? So he goes quick. So you're all able to add it in and it's all there and it's good to go?
I didn't add mine in. I missed
Okay.
a few steps.
So we'll just give you guys a minute. Does anybody want me to go through it again quickly? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. All right. So let me find my, it's the beauty of having 3 screens. I never know which screen I'm sharing. Okay. So just as a quick overview, this is our course site that we have. So I know a few of you are still getting access to it, and that's totally fine. The reason I'll just explain to the reason that we did this in an FOL course site is obviously because this is where you're going to be doing it for your own students, but as well, we're hoping that, and maybe Greg can jump in and let me know, because I'm not sure how long the access goes for, but hopefully you'll have course access for a while so that you can go in here and this can be almost like your sandbox and you can kind of, play around in here. And I'm hoping as well that by having these participant pages that you'll be able to create things and share with each other. So you can kind of go in and take a look and see what people are creating and kind of peep on them a little bit. So whatever you create, feel free to insert into your page so that everybody can see it. Just as kind of a little bit of an overview in the content here, you'll notice that we've got our workshop resources. So this is the presentation that Kim and Greg were working off. And just to comment that it's actually an H5P presentation. So, the kind of cool thing about using an H5P presentation is that you can integrate in little H5P activities within your presentation. Unfortunately, I've only got one here, which I'll go through in a little bit with you, but it's kind of just, again, like a cool way to make it interactive as you're presenting, maybe in your synchronous session or maybe in a live session once you're actually back in the classroom, okay? And so as Greg pointed out, so this was the multiple choice content type that we were playing around with today. And looks like we've got a little one learning H5P today, Christopher. Are you pumped about H5P? It's exciting.
Yes, childcare plans on this PD day fell through, so he's with me this morning.
I know, I hear you. My kids are online, so they're always home. So, okay, so this is our H5P content type, as I was mentioning. It's a multiple choice one. So what you're going to do, as Greg demonstrated, is you're going to download it. So just click that link. And my computer is super slow today, so it'll give you time to download. We're probably all doing it at the same time as well. And you're going to just download it. I'm actually just going to throw mine right on my desktop, which is becoming cluttered because that's where I put everything. So just download it there. And obviously you should be able to see that it downloaded okay.
Where's the link?
Sorry?
Where's the link?
Okay, so we're going to go back into, just go into the content in the FOL course site.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see here where we've got H5P workshop resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to go into the presentation.
Oh, okay.
And as it slowly loads, we're going to go to the very bottom. So you see our presentation.
Okay. Yeah.
And then right down below, I tried to make it big, but maybe not big enough. There's a link there. So just click that link
Okay.
and it will
Gotcha.
download. And I'll take my coffee break. So if everybody was able to successfully download, maybe give me a thumbs up on Zoom. Nice. Okay, great. I think we're doing well. If there's anybody having a hard time finding it, please let me know.
Yeah, I'm getting an error message when I try to download the link.
Okay, what does your error message say?
Just a second. Okay, I tried 2 more times and it looks like it's working.
Awesome, great.
Oh, okay, here's a message. This file does not have an app associated with it to perform this action. Please install an app, or if one is already installed, create an association in the default apps.
I can jump in on that. So when you're saving it, are you trying to open it? Because usually what that message means is that you're trying to open the .h5p file on your computer. And since H5P is like it's a special tool on the web, you can't open it up on your computer. So there's not a way, which is too bad, but there's not a way that you can open it up directly before uploading it into H5P. So if you can just save the file onto your computer, then when you go into H5P and go to the upload area, you can upload that file and then it'll be able to open it up for you.
Okay.
A quick question, Shauna. So
Yeah.
how did we get to this? So I was able to successfully go into my, like I'm logged in, so I'm already in.
Perfect.
My thing is, where did you get, so we have to go into the content, correct?
Yep, into the content.
And my page?
No, not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay. Okay. Here's the one that I missed. Okay.
Yeah, for you and for the other person that just got access to the course site, I'm going to throw the link again. I know you already got in, but just here's the link to the course site again.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, into the content. And then we have started in the presentation.
Gotcha.
IP presentation, download link. Don't open it, just save it, and then we should be good to go. Make sure you save it somewhere you can find it. That's what I always tell my students, right? Because then we'll be in class and no one can find it. Okay, so next step, once you have it downloaded, is to go and find your participant page. If you just got course access, you might have to create a page yourself. So there's a submodule called participant pages. Okay, and so you should be able to find your name in here. If you don't, after even going to the load more, what you can do is just, and I know a lot of you probably know how to do this, but just go up to the upload and create a file for yourself. Okay, you all have professor access, so you can do whatever you want just as it was your own course. Obviously, just make sure you don't delete anybody's work. Okay, so for those that already have a page, so I'm just going to go into Samus for a minute here. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to go up here and you're going to go to edit HTML. Okay, and I'm going to go quickly while you do that. I'm going to quickly create, actually, maybe I'll use Greg's, right, Greg? I'll be Greg today.
Sure, go for it.
So I'll scroll down to Greg. Greg won't be using his right now. Oh, perfect. So we got Latvia and we got Soft at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go to edit HTML. And I'm going to just delete Greg's work. Poor Greg. There we go. And we're going to redo it. So I'm going to go up here and go to the insert stuff button. And, you know, Greg was referring to it as like a play button. I've never heard of that before, but that totally makes sense because it does look like the video play button, right? So we go to the insert stuff button. And we'll scroll down and you'll see H5P. Is everybody okay so far? You're already far in advance because you've done this before. Feel free to start editing what we already have, okay? And I'll get there in a minute. All right, so click the H5P. And as Greg pointed out, this is where we could go in and we could add some brand new content. But for today, we thought it would make sense to start with editing an already existing one, okay? So I'm gonna go up and, oh, I did the wrong thing, Greg. Whoops. Of course, I added my content. Why can't I see it, Greg? Where did I go here? H5P.
Sorry. So you're looking to add, you want to click on your add content button.
I know, I couldn't find my upload button. Why did I miss that?
So wait for it to load here.
There we
And
go.
then there's your upload. Yep.
It's coming slowly. Okay, so once you go to your add content, then we're going to hit that upload so you can find your file that you're going to upload. Okay, so I go to upload a file and mine is really super slow. Not sure if you're experiencing the same thing. And if we go to my desktop, because of course that's where I said I save everything, I should see my H5P file there. And you'll know it's an H5P file because it's got that extension .h5p. But we've called it H5P, what is it? To name our multiple choice. Are we okay so far with questions? Everybody's okay?
I know Susan had a question. I think she was still on the downloading the steps. So I tried to put some instructions in the. So yeah, so she's seeing the choose the application. So you don't want to open it. You want to try to actually save it. So you might have the ability. It depends on which browser you're using. Like if you're using Chrome or Internet Explorer. But if you have the option, you want to go for save as. So with Chrome, it actually automatically saves it in the bottom left corner. So actually, if we look at just on Shauna's screen right now, in the bottom left corner, we can see when she downloaded it, it has it saved there. And if Shauna was to double click on that, then she would probably get the application saying, oh, actually, you can see the message right there saying you can't open it. And so that's what's happening when you try to double click it. But since it's auto saved, it's likely saving it into a downloads folder or wherever it automatically saves for you. So now, since it's saved on your computer, you'd want to go to the H5P page, which is Shauna's been demonstrating, and then try and upload that file. So I'm not sure where on a Mac that automatically downloads to. I'm not as familiar with that, but I'm not sure if there's a automatic download area. But if you're seeing it in the bottom left corner on Chrome, it means it has saved.
Okay. And then what I'm going to do here, once I found that file that I downloaded and I hit that upload button, I'm going to hit use the file and it will chug along for a little while as it's uploading. And then as Greg pointed out, it does give me that edit view of the content. But for right now, we're not worried about the edit view. I'm literally just going to go save and insert. It gives me a preview as FOL does. And once the preview's ready, I can hit insert. And then I can hit save and close in my HTML file page. And my beautiful H5P that I have borrowed from someone else is there. Maybe just a show of a thumbs up for anybody that was able to successfully do that. Awesome, awesome. You guys are rock stars. Okay, cool. If there's anybody that still wasn't able to do it, maybe just type in the chat and if Greg or Kim can jump in and help you and we'll move on, okay? So what the next step is that we wanna show you how to edit this. So this is great, right? But this doesn't apply to everybody. And we thought it would be easier to show you how to edit one that already exists so you can get used to the interface that H5P uses to create that content. So what we're going to do is you're going to go and hit that edit button. and it'll take a minute just to load it. Okay. And so at the very, very top here, you'll see it'll tell you what the content type is. So this is an H5P content type multiple choice. And you've got a lovely title here that we've created. So feel free to edit. Okay. So at this point now, let's try to customize this for our own, our own teaching material, right? So for me, maybe I want to do a multiple choice question. I'm actually creating a midterm exam right now, so I feel like I'm so tired of making questions, but it's probably handy. So I'm going to say, what is a database? And so I've edited the title. And we've done this actually is not as a multiple choice. It's actually a multiple select. So I've got, select all that apply. Okay. I'm going to change the first one. So I'm going to say, whoops, that database is a collection of, maybe an organized collection of data. Now I'm just getting crazy. And that is going to be a correct answer. So I can make sure that it's clicked there. Now for tips and feedback, if you want a hint to the user, you can provide hints here, and so it's telling you, it'll say that it will appear as kind of a check. So they can go and click it to see what the hint is. Okay. But if you don't want to provide them any hints, then you don't have to. And then I'm going to go to the next answer. So this is the next multiple select or multiple choice answer. So there are many different types available. I'm going to say it is, I don't know, centralized. Obviously, make this, applicable to your own content. And that's also correct. And I'm going to go and edit the next one. It is magic. And you see here, in this one, I did actually already kind of predefine some feedback or some tips here. So if you don't want it, you can delete it out or you can add it in. It's up to you. So the it is magic is not correct. So we won't allow that one. And then at the very bottom here, you've got some additional options for feedback. So what you can do is if you want to say to them, well, if they score, half right, 0 to 50%, we could put in some feedback. So, maybe I'll say I want to add a range and I'll put, 50% here. And I'll say, maybe you should try that again. You don't quite have it, you should probably give it another shot. And then here, maybe we say, I don't know, good job, right? You can give them some additional feedback as they're, completing the activity. So then down below, you have a couple options here in terms of display. So if you want to allow others to download the content, you can click this little button here. And that way you can share it with people and they have that option to download. I'll just give you a couple minutes here. So I'll go through quickly here. So the question up top is not, what is, I gotta do that one, I forgot that one. What is a database?
Donna, can you just speak to then what the difference between the title and the question?
Okay, yeah. So the difference between the title and the question is the title just allows you to find it easily. So, and Greg can pop in here and tell you, I'm used to using H5P more so outside of FOL, so I don't always know how it works exactly in FOL. But the way Greg explained it to me is that it's user-based, right? So all the content that I create kind of goes in my own little, Shauna Roche database of content. And so for me, if I'm creating a whole pile of content, repeatedly, it might be hard for me to go and find exactly what I'm looking for. So it's just like basically giving a title to a file name when you're saving it on your computer. It's the same purpose. And then the question, obviously, in this case, I'm calling the question the same as the title, just so I can remember what it is. And I apologize, I missed that before. I do find sometimes, and this is, I'll say it's the one thing I have, I probably, have a problem with lack of detail because, which is probably a bad thing for an accountant to say. I'm always trying to create things quickly. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to create this quick thing for my students, and I'll go in and I'll miss something. But what I love about H5P is if I've missed a setup, it gives me that preview automatically so I can see that it's not quite right. So I can go back quickly and troubleshoot. It reminds me of the days back in university when I used to try to do HTML programming, create a website. I used to love it because you'd write a code and it would pop up exactly, what that website would look like, right? So that's what I love about this, is like it's instant feedback if you've made a mistake, if I've missed something. So what is a database? I've put in my available options. I missed one here. See, told you I missed things. I can also say that a database is okay. And I can make sure that all of the correct options are clicked off, and the one that is not correct is not clicked off. And then, as I said earlier, you can add the option for overall feedback. It's up to you, right? So you can put a range in to say if students, answer half of the answers, they can maybe try again. If they don't, then you can tell them they've done a good job. We're going to hit that save button.
Sarah, you had a question? Go ahead.
If I've kind of gone ahead because I've been playing with this a little bit and I've added something that I've created, is there a way to delete that? Because I'm looking to edit it, but there's no way to delete and take something out that I can see.
So Greg, am I able to edit it if I go back into my content library?
Sorry, I was typing in answer in the chat for another question. So is the question to delete the entire module out of the content, or what are you?
So
looking at?
I've added in 3 different things that I've already made, and the last one I want to delete it and take it out.
Okay. So yeah, so then it's not in this area, Shauna, because this would be to delete it from the library, like the entire library where Shauna's showing right now. But if you want to keep that module in your H5P repository, but just want to delete it out of the content, if Shauna just clicks on the cancel button here. And so let's say this particular module, oh, actually you just did it.
I missed it, sorry.
If you put your cursor before, if you do an undo, it should it'll bring it back. If you put your cursor before, right after where the module that you want to delete is. So with cursor, you can see that Shauna, it's really small, but you can see that Shauna's clicked and her cursor's flashing just after the module. If she hits the backspace key, that will delete that module. So if you can place your cursor just right after that module, that should help you delete it.
But it is, I like the question you had because I didn't know, I actually didn't know if I could delete something once it was in my H5P library. So that's a good question too. So if you do go into your H5P library, so you go back to your insert stuff, you do have a whole pile of options here. If you go to a little ellipsis button, I can say this word. So you can, clone it, move it, delete it, share it, publish it. Greg does an awesome session on advanced H5P, which if you haven't attended it, I do believe there's a recording as well, which I'll add into the course on the YouTube playlist from OD&L. And so, he goes into more details about, how to share and that kind of thing. But I actually didn't know about the delete here in the library. So that's really kind of handy to know. So thank you for asking that question. So I'm learning.
Oh, I got it. Thanks.
If you had already created it though in your library and you got out of it like I did, I could just go back in and say that I wanted to insert it. And then just like we did when we copied it into the other one into our library. And so there's my beautiful, what is a database? Now, the difference here is, and I'm just going to save mine or Greg's, because this is Greg's account here, is I can go now and I can try and check. And so you'll see I got that feedback, right? So if I answered, one that was not enough, right? Because there were multiple answers that I had to select, you see the feedback comes up, try again, right? So it's kind of just, again, another, additional, option when you're trying to use this for quick formative feedback. Now, we also have this option now to reuse. So remember how I changed the settings at the very bottom and I said, have the ability to download it. So you see now it does come up as I'm able to download this so that I could share this with other people or other people could borrow mine. Was everybody successfully able to edit theirs for their own content? Thumbs ups. Awesome. If you're having any problems, feel free to put in the chat. And then Greg, feel free to jump in if I'm going too fast. So are you ready to go to the next level now? All right. So what we can do now is I'm going to take you back into the content. When it comes up, because it's slow, Friday morning. And you'll see that underneath, again, that module for H5P resources, that I have a bunch of examples. And before I get to those, I want to show you what I did build in the presentation. So as I mentioned before, this presentation is an H5P content type. And if we go to the second last slide, I've got this kind of little interactive, and again, it'd be something cool to do in your class. If you're trying to showcase something, you could say to the students, okay, pick a number. Someone can pick a number for me. Please feel free to yell it out. 3. 3. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So then I would click on that. It would provide a link. And then I could go and check out that content type. Right? So again, it's just another way to build interactivity into your presentation. And so students could be doing this if you're in a laptop program and you're all together, or if you're in a synchronous session, you could be doing this as well. So this content type is called the documentation tool. And it's really cool because, it allows your learners to kind of submit some written feedback, maybe some reflections or contributions that they have done. And it allows them to then download it and, submit this as a file as well once they have kind of walked through the process of, completing their documentation. So in this case, I've provided an example of a team contract. I know with all the group work we've been doing, this is something that's really kind of handy. So you see, they talk about what teamwork is. We move on and say, what are your expectations for your participation? You can fill it in and move on. What do you commit to in terms of communication, meetings, contact, your conflict resolution, who are your members? And then what you can do is once you're done that and you filled everything in, it's basically a form, right? It allows you to create a downloadable file that could then be shared with the instructor. So that's kind of an example of how you could use the documentation tool. I've also seen documentation used a lot for reflections, right? So it's kind of something neat. What we have done here as well, Greg's gone in and added links to tons of other examples. And what I do want to point out is the wonderful thing about H5P in Ontario is that eCampus Ontario, which is the government body that the ministry has set up to really kind of promote e-learning and online learning in the province, has set up this wonderful library of H5P activities. So if you've created something really awesome that you want to share, you can go ahead and share it to this library. You just have to create a login account so that you can register and share. But people have lots of great things that they've already shared in here. So what Greg has done for us for every content type that is displayed in our course, he's provided a link to that specific content type in the library. So you see there's lots of different great examples here. There's some SMART goal setting, career plans, collaborative work contracts, lots of great things, okay? If you're looking for specifically something related to your subject where you teach, again, you could do a search just for that. So there's lots of filtering abilities here as well so that you can go in and take a look there, okay? I'm not going to go back to the presentation, but I do want to just quickly go through the different content types in the couple minutes that we have left and then give you time to explore. Okay. So this is probably the most complicated one, definitely a much higher level. It's called the branching scenario. And the branching scenario is, almost like a simulation, essentially, right? So it takes learners down kind of a pathway where they're making decisions, and then they're given different information based on which choice that they have made. So this is a really great example. I couldn't embed it because it's so large, you're not able to download it and embed it. But if you go to Ryerson's webpage here, sorry, I should have made that a link that clicks out. So I'm going to open the link in a new tab here. So if you just right click, I'll fix that after. Or you can copy the link. It'll take you to Ryerson's webpage, and you can see that it's a game, right? So it's a simulation or game. My computer is so slow, it's chugging. But anyway, it will come up with the first scenario, and you will have to make a choice. I don't know why mine's not loading. Hopefully yours loads for you. I'm not going to spend any more time on it. But anyway, it's there. So go ahead and take a look at it. It's really kind of cool. Obviously something that would be much more advanced, and it would take a lot of work to build. You can create things that are a little bit maybe more fairly simple. The course presentation, very similar to the one that we were using for the session today, where you can just take your slides and then interact and put some H5Ps embedded into the presentation. And the wonderful thing is, again, you can embed this right into your HTML page in FOL. So it's, really seamless, right? Let me know if I go through any of these too fast, or if you have any additional questions about them. Documentation tool we have already done, so we will move on to the next one. So drag and drop images. This is one of my favorite ones. I really enjoy this. So, you can take a picture of something and, start adding the labels onto it, and then, check if you're correct or not. Okay. And again, there's lots of different examples that Greg has linked to at the bottom here that you can also check out to see how else this can be applied. The next one is the drag the word. Again, this one is, I find, really easy to set up. So it's something you can do fairly quickly. I do these a lot at the end of my modules in my content for my courses, just as a quick knowledge check, as Kim had mentioned earlier. So you can, drag and drop these and, see if they're in the right spot. You can see that I've made it so that if it's the wrong answer, it won't go. Okay. Oh, I guess I didn't. I thought I did. Maybe I just wasn't dragging and dropping very well. And another one of my favorite ones I use a lot, because I teach a lot of computer courses, are the image hotspots. So for instance, this is one that I created. I was teaching Microsoft Access to my students, and I was just trying to explain to them the different areas of the user interface. So I put these little hotspots over top to explain, what the ribbon is, and the quick access toolbar, and the different navigation areas. Just it's something interactive for them, and it helps explain. It's a little bit nicer than a diagram with the lines going to it, right? All right. And the memory game. It's not really my favorite one, but I will highlight it for you. So the memory game, if you remember as a kid, or if you still have kids at home that might have this, you're basically trying to find the matches. So you could do this for terminology, right? And once they get a match, it can give you some additional feedback about that match, okay? Again, just, providing some interactivity, making it a bit fun. You can even make it a challenge, so you can limit the time, so they have to see who's got the best time. Kind of interesting. The next one is basically like creating a quiz in FOL. So you can take a combination of questions and create a set out of them. So here you'll see that we've got, kind of a multiple select one here. I don't know, maybe they all are. I have no idea. I don't know. And then, we can drag these into the right spots. So you're basically combining a bunch of different question sets together, and then it'll tell you how well you've done. Okay. All right. And I think we're getting close to the end. I think we've got one left here, the timeline. So as you notice, we've got the timeline in a different submodule because this is one that's not available through our Fansha Online H5P add-in. And the reason being is that there's probably an issue with this, and it could be related to the nature of the accessibility of it for students, or it could be due to support or other complications. But it's one that you could go to h5p.org and create if it's something that you really wanted to do and explore and bring into your course. It's just not available in the add-on that we have for Fansha Online. So here's an example of one of the timelines that's talking about, oh, I don't know why it's not moving very well, but maybe that's why we don't use it. It was working before. Oh, there's the button. I just couldn't find the button very well. There we go. So it moves you along the timeline and tells you what's happened at different points of time. Okay. And again, there's some more examples down here if you'd like to take a look at. So the other resource that we have here in the course site, go back up to the workshop resources, is just a quick handout that explains some of these different content types kind of at a very high level, and about the fact that these ones are the ones that are accessible. So these are the ones that are available for students. So you can just download it. It's not coming up nicely in the FOL viewer here, but if you download it and open it, you can take a look at that. Now, I think the reader was just loading now. It was taking a while. So in the last, 5 to 10 minutes, I know it's not a lot of time, feel free to go and take a look at some of the other content types and see if you can actually start building them yourself. As I said, the goal of having this course site, I'm really hoping, is that you'll use this as a bit of a sandbox, and you can go ahead and create some different content types to share. Has anybody gone ahead and started playing around and has anything on their page that they want to share?
Shauna, can you maybe just address Michael's question in the chat there? Where in my FOL course page would I find H5P? So maybe outside of our course that we've set up for this workshop, but if in any random FOL course, can you maybe just demonstrate how to find H5P there?
So it would be the exact same, Michael. So I'll go into another course just to show you that it's the exact same. So if I go and pull up one of my other courses here. Wow, Mike, are you guys having the same thing, or is it just my computer? My computer is so slow today.
Time for an upgrade, Shauna.
I know. It'd be great, wouldn't it? All right, so I'm going to go into the content here. Maybe I just got too many things open as I usually do. So this is one of my courses that I use right now. So I'm going to go and just create a file, same as we did in the H5P course. And I'm going to hit that little insert stuff button. And again, you'll find your H5Ps there. And so again, Michael, we would have the opportunity here to add some content that maybe I've already created. So you see, I've got my library here with lots that's already here. You guys might just have the 2 that we've been playing with today, or you can go and create brand new content. Okay. So I could go and say, I want to create a multiple choice question, and you'll see it pulls up that exact same interface we were editing before with the other multiple choice content type. Okay. So if I wanted to create something else really quickly here, whoops, I could go into my H5P. Now my students are all going to see this. I could do add content. And, maybe I want to go down and do a quick, I don't know, drag the words. Call it H5P. Say I want to drag the words in the correct boxes. So the great thing about the drag the words is it gives you really, kind of step-by-step instructions on how to do it. So the droppable words are added with an asterisk in front of it. So here they give you an example. So Oslo is the capital of Norway. So what you would do, oops, is I'm going to type in my asterisk. So I'm going to say H5P is an interactive tool. Okay. And then I'm going to leave everything else because I don't really need to do anything else at this point. I just want to show you how quickly I could do this. And so you see, here's my preview. So there's my drag and drop, check, and away we go. And so I could insert that right now into my course in 2 seconds. So those are two, I would say those are kind of my two that I go to most often, I would say, is the quick interactive tool or the multiple choice. Those are good for really quick feedback. If I want to get, more fancy, then I'm kind of doing the, the hotspots. I really like the hotspots, or, dragging a word onto an image. I did one before that was really kind of cool for all the accounting folks in the room. See if I can actually find it. I think this was for those that are in business. I have some examples in our e-learning site, but I did a really just quick one for my accounting students where I said, if you were trying to decide if this was a source or a use of cash, you had to drag and drop the, let me just find it here, technology. You had to drag and drop into the correct bucket. And so I had to make the image myself. That's why I wanted to show you this, is because you don't always have to have an image that exists to put the drag and drops to. I used one here. So here's another one. This is another hotspot where I did like the example of a formula. But this one is I made the background image myself. So on, like PowerPoint or whatever, I just put source and use, and then the student has to literally, drag and drop into the right categories to see if they got it right or wrong. So you don't always have to have an image that's existing. You can make your own. Okay, so Anna's saying, I've had problems with the format of H5P activities in the modules. For example, lots of empty space at the bottom in the drag and drop activities. Greg, is that
I was just typing to see, like, is that in your content in the course right now? Because I can take a look if you're showing that, if that's happening in the workshop course that you have here. I do know that there is some space that is added just at the bottom there, just because of how it's embedded. Usually it's not a whole lot of space. I know also you mentioned the drag and drop activities. So depending on the drag and drop activity you pick. So I know, for example, the text, there shouldn't be, like, it's just a straight text one that Shauna had shown earlier on, where it was just H5P is a draggable, where she dragged H5P into her sentence. That one, there shouldn't be a whole lot of space, but I know for the one where if you do draggable images, that one sometimes can have spacing issues because of the sizing that you have for the picture. So sometimes there's a lot of white space, but it really depends on which module.
So now I'm like showing my students good work here. So Christine created really cool in here about, tax rates, right? So, again, taking something that, we already had and just modifying it quickly, right? I find sometimes it's much easier to modify something that's already in existence than to kind of start from scratch. And sometimes even for me, like, I get in a creative rut and I can't think about where to go. So that's where I would definitely say, oh, Gary, that's great too. I love it. So like a multiple select here. So that's why, again, like, take a look at this H5P studio. Obviously the links are all in the course sites underneath the content. I'm going to throw it here again in the chat just so that you have it handy. But just to get an idea, right, of, what some of the things people have created already and how you could leverage that, because maybe there's something that's already there that you don't even have to do. I mean, look at this one. This is like, they put a lot of effort into this. The 4 P's of marketing, check for understanding. So you can type in your answer and then move on and go to the next one. Like, this is really cool, right? So, play around. I apologize, Gary. I noticed you were talking about rabbit holes, but you've got the weekend to go and play in here in H5P and see what's available and where this can take you. But please,
My wife won't see me for the weekend then, Shauna, because I'll.
Uh-oh.
I'm just gonna blame it on Shauna and Kim and Greg and say, yeah, sorry, honey. Yeah, I'm busy learning stuff this weekend. So this is great. This is fantastic. Thanks very
Sorry,
much.
Gary's wife.
I will also mention too that this is just kind of like a teaser or a trailer. Greg offers 2 amazing 1-hour webinars as well, where we go into a lot more detail. So he has an introduction to H5P webinar, as well as an advanced H5P webinar. I've put the links to the
Okay, good.
recordings of those webinars
Okay.
in the chat in case you wanted to watch them, but please feel free to register for his upcoming workshops as well. If you kind of got a glimpse here and you're excited and you want to learn more, you're not alone. We're not just going to like put you out into the FOL H5P universe. There is training and support available.
Yeah, and there was a great point in here, and maybe Greg can talk to this too, about creating something in your course and then being able to share it with other people teaching your course.
Yeah, so you do have the ability to share your there's a couple things that you can do with H5P if you're looking to share. If you're developing a brand new course and you're doing it with another colleague, you can add them as a collaborator to the module. And so this is really nice because you can actually work together creating the module at the same time. They can see it, you can see it, they can make any changes, and then it's something that you can both use in your courses. You do also have the ability to download a copy of your module as a .h5p file, very similar to how Shauna really showed us today with the link that we had, that how we downloaded the example module and then uploaded it to our H5P site. If you're looking to share your module with others, you are able to do that. There was a question about it being copied from master courses into course, like to the other courses that teach it. So just because it's something that has come up, and it is something that's possible, but there's some things you do need to be aware of. So if you create it in the master course and then it gets copied into the children courses that other faculty are teaching, if faculty want to customize those modules, they don't have the ability to do that unless you were to add them as a collaborator. And when you do that, though, it actually, if they make changes to it, it affects everyone. So it really limits the ability to customize them by course if that was something you're interested in. But if you want it to be standard across all the courses and you have it created in the master course, that is an option. So
So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I hope that at least gives you a bit of taste of H5P and tries to get you excited about using and exploring more.
Shauna, it's prize time. It's prize time before these
prize.
folks go.
Oh my gosh,
prize time.
forgot about the prize. Can't forget about the prize. Okay, so the question is, what does
Hold on, before you say it, get your fingers ready to type into the chat.
Okay. Get your
Everybody
fingers
get
ready.
ready. Shauna's going to ask a question, and the first one to type in the correct answer into the chat wins a gift card to retail services.
$25 to get something new for your home office. All right, what does H5P stand for? Yes, first person, Clyde. Oh my gosh, you were so quick. That was crazy. Way to go. All right, so Clyde, you are now the new owner of a $25 retail gift card for
Awesome.
retail.
Thank you.
So-
I was making notes. That's the secret.
Love it. So good. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend and happy end to Open Resources, Open Education Week. So thank you for attending, and we really appreciate you taking the time on a Friday morning at 9 a.m. Feel free to reach out if you need any more help. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
We just need to stop recording here.
Oh, I got it.